Hi guys, it's Blackie for Shaman's Forge Woodscraft. Okay, in a recent video I talked about a hammock of mine, my Hennessy hammock, and how I was upgrading to the bigger hammock. My old hammock, which was a expedition, I passed on to Trinity Sainer of Sainer Survival YouTube channel. Go check her out if you haven't done it before. And I wanted to upgrade to the bigger hammock. And I made a deal with my friend William Collins, who had this hammock, for it. So this is my little take on it. Now, the first thing I noticed right off was it's a little bit bigger in the bag. My old one weighed 2-something pounds. This one lists it at 3.2. My old one had a weight capacity of, I believe, something like 250, 260, and this one says 300. So it is a little bit bigger. But the bulk is not that much, so it's still going to fit into my rucksack just fine. Now I've set it up to take a really good look at it, and I've noticed a couple of things. One, it is about a foot longer, and it's a little bit deeper, and it's just a little bit wider. Not exorbitantly so, but you do notice it when you get into it. When I would get into my old Hennessy and sit down and go to sit up, my head would hit the mosquito net and I'd have to kind of drag back through it to sit down. On this one, not so much. It may touch it, but that's about it. I'm 5'10", 185 pounds. So that gives you a rough idea how big I am. The material rolls up further on the front of it, and I believe so on the back. So I think it's the same size, and this is just my opinion, guys. I think it's the same size mosquito net with just a bigger body attached. Because on my old one, I believe right about here was where the net usually ran, and it's about 2 to 3 inches higher, which is going to make it more waterproof in blowing rain and things like that. The door, it's the bottom entry style like I had before. And it does have the tarp. I've just got the tarp taken off to show it. Another little thing that I've noticed different is that on the inside at the tie-out points, it has anchor points, little rings. My old one didn't have that. And the side cords on mine were just plain cordage. These are actually elastic bungee like I put onto mine, but they're short. On my old Hennessy, the tie-outs for the hammock were the long cords, and the tie-out for the tarp was the short cord, so to speak. So it went down and it hooked to my long hammock cord. On this one, it's kind of reversed. The hammock bungee is short, and the tarp tie-out is the long one. So I guess you would set it up, pull it out, and then hook to that. Occasionally, I set up mine to have a higher tarp. Now what I do is I just simply unhook the tarp and run a fresh Ridgeline to the tree above, and then I put my tarp over it. This gives me a gap like this between the top of my ridge up here and the actual bottom of the tarp for more airflow. Down here in my south where it's so hot and humid, you need it at night, a lot of nights. Now, right now it's supposed to be about 92, 93, and it feels like 101 with high humidity. Even though it's early September, still. Getting into the Hennessy, it holds heat fairly well. So don't think you're going to take a nap in this during the middle of the days in the south, guys. You'll burn up. It holds heat too much. Even though that's got a mosquito net on it, it blocks airflow a lot. So you do notice it significantly when you get into it. Now at night, this is not a factor. And it also makes it a much warmer hammock to me in the winter. So I use it as a summer hammock when I'm in bad bug areas and things like that, because the mosquito net and all just makes it so convenient in and out. Nothing to mess with, nothing to whatever. So I've built my system kind of around it. Now, William had done, like I mentioned in my earlier videos, what this is a Prusk knot with a small carabiner on it. That's how I hang my boots at night. I get into the hammock and I sit down and I untie my boots. And I bring them up and I make a big loose bow with the laces if my boots don't have a loop on the back. If they have a loop, I just grab that and hook them together and then slide them forward so that they come outside the door and they're hanging up here in the air. Therefore, I don't get critters in my boots during the night. And like I mentioned in my last video, this came about because I heard a racket one night and I couldn't figure out what it was. And when I came out, one of my boots was missing and there was a critter with my boot stuck on its head. So I don't leave my boots laying on the ground anymore. I put them up. All in all, I'm very impressed with it for the size. Of course, it's always been a really good hammock. Modifications I'm planning on making. One, I'm going to go ahead and make up a separate bankline Ridgeline with a couple of carabiners on the end for quick deploy, and then a tension slider so I can just go click click and slide it up right quick. I'll show that in a later video. I'm also going to go through and put a couple extra loops on the inside. My old Hennessy had some extra loops up here in the top. This one does not. I'll simply make little Prusik knots out of bank line and put it there so that I can hang my sidearm up here at my head or whatever I want to do. And I'm pretty sure that that's going to be about it. It's only going to need a few minor little tweaks. This is my favorite type of camping hammock. And again, the name of this one is the Explorer model. So if you're thinking about getting one and you're somewhere around my size, I think you really like this one. I mean, it's 3 pounds of weight and it takes care of all the problems you have of sleeping on the ground. I don't have to carry a big heavy pad and bag and tarps and everything else. This is a shelter unto itself. The hammock itself also can be used as a lounger. Let me show you that right quick. Now once you've detached the cord, you simply grab and push in. And sit down on it like this. So it's a lounger for sitting next to your fire or whatever. Now I can sit here and do whatever and I don't have to be in the hammock. I can actually lay down in it like this if I wanted to. Yeah, it's a little awkward because of your Ridgeline right here, but you could do it during the day if you're just wanting something to lounge around camp with and not have to get into the hammock. It does make a very handy system. It also is handy because I can take it and roll this up with my tarp still set up and be able to get underneath it in the rain and do stuff, and this be up and out of the way, hanging on its Ridgeline, separate from the tarp. We're going to do more of that in an upcoming video. I'm going to take you through all the steps. But this was just a my first thoughts type deal. I'm really impressed. Thank you to William for making this trade happen. And if you've got any comments or questions or things you'd like to know about the Hennessy, please ask. I'm Blackie for Shaman's Forge Woodscraft. Wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.